All right, welcome. Decision Games, Campaigns in Europe. First module, Drive on Leningrad. There's three others and an expansion coming. And this hopefully will be a short video. Reviewing back the previous turn, I did make a mistake, specifically on the overrun that I did on this place right here. So I went back, reviewed the video, etc. And this video is more for people trying to learn the system like I am, and making sure I get the rules right. So what happened last turn was these guys attacked here, and they did get the overrun result against these guys, so they were able to move here. And then they went to do an overrun attack on these guys, and this is where I did mess up. So just to clarify the rules, there's two issues going on here with this hex. I didn't take into effect the combined. I was messing up the rules, I think, with some other game. I forgot some game I played before where it said you could only take one defensive, whatever the best terrain. This probably says it too, but you do combine. You can't combine. If you've got two types of terrain, you can't combine them. Although I don't think this map has that problem. So I think I read that rule from another game. So defending here, they get both the fortress effect and the swamp effect. And normally a printed fortress gives a 3L, but there's a special rule. I'm not even going to dig it up here. That says initially, at least for the scenarios, it's 2L till a certain point in time. I know there was an errata there where people were confused as a 2L for forever, but the 2L only applies um, to the Soviets for this scenario. It doesn't apply after that, I guess. I'll try and find that here in a second. Hold on. All right, the plot thickens. Actually, it is 3L now. It only applies on the first three game turns. Defensive benefit of printed fortresses is reduced for Soviet units. Instead of 3L, it goes to 2L. After game turn 3, 3L applies. So, actually, that's a 4-1. The other thing is, if you're in a swamp, you can't use the mobile CRT. So, again, I did it up here on this CRT and got the 3 result. Okay, good. It's the same result. What a relief. So instead, I should use the assault ground combat table. Now, let's go ahead and run the numbers. I also looked up on this rule. They did air supply. I did air supply, put it on this hex. And normally air supply only applies for a single phase, which in theory, we were in the combat phase, so the overrun would have in theory been in supply, but the other requirement, yeah, yes, an air supply can help a mech unit in supply for both an initial and an overrun, provided the marker is in place and the unit within its supply radius. Well, if an air supply is not on an air base, it's only on that hex. So when they advance here and do the overrun, they're out of supply, which is what I figured out. So pulling up the CRT, yeah, and I know this is getting down in the weeds for the rules here, but that's how you learn a game, I guess. There's a lot of stuff you got to take into effect. So if we work through here, um, later in the video you see I did bring in my 2 air power. I think there was, yeah, there's a lot of air power there. I did this attack first, so we could say they've got 2R for air support, down to 1R for being out of supply, back up to 2R for doing an overrun. So the Germans had 2R. And then against that, the defenders had actually 6L. No, wait, 1L for the swamp, 3L. So they got 3L for the fortress, so that's 4L, but they're out of supply down to 3L. So the odds would have been 5-1. I did this before. That's 15 to, this was at the overrun here, 15 to 3. So it's 5-1, but then it goes down to 4-1, and it has to be on this regular table here. And the roll was a 3, so it's still a DR. So in that respect, yeah, notice here it was a DP, but that was a mistake because this wasn't allowed in a swamp hex. So you had a DR. Now the other thing I messed up is the refuse retreat For a printed fortress, you just literally refuse retreat. There is no step loss. So the bottom line is, you know, these guys advanced here, did their overrun, and with the DR result, you know, if they'd gotten an exchange, they would have forced them to go away. You know, reduces all units. Those were one steps they would have won. This was a one result. The DR. Anything else, the Soviets would have lost. Potentially lost the hacks here. I'm sorry, the overrun here. But with the DR, they ignore the result, and it's in a printed fortress. They just ignore the result. They don't make a step loss. That was my mistake. So this actually held, which changes, of course, the whole dynamics of the mech move, um, which I've adjusted here. So coming back, that means these guys stayed right here and sealed it off. Kept it, the Stalin line held, actually. And I think this is a blocking hex. It's a straight line. It's not squiggly river. And it kind of makes sense. It looks like we got a whole lake over here. I'm not quite sure, but I don't think they can go that way, to be honest. So, yeah, that's a straight line. Coloring's different, but yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to attack across there. So the Germans end up here, and they're going to be stopped here, which then changes the dynamic on these units. They can potentially withdraw. So let me go ahead and pause and show you my adjustments. Okay, this is the Germans now going into turn 5. Notice these guys are totally in place. DR was a one result where they wouldn't lose anything. And because of that, they couldn't get behind and pin these guys. So these guys actually, I think I still got the movement trail. No, I don't. It doesn't matter. Yeah, this guy was here and this guy was here. And then the other kicker is, guess what? No zone of control in this hex, because this Brandenburger doesn't have it. So this enables this guy to move one to here, which now is blocking them here. And then this guy who was here moves here because there's no Zoc, so it's not Zoc to Zoc, moves here. And they're still kind of out of supply because there's more problems here for the Soviets. The only adjustment I did here was I'll think about this some more. I got to leave the headquarters there with the 2 defense. But this guy is just barely out of range of the depot here. The depot only is 3. 1, 2, 3. If the depot was 4, this guy would be in supply, and then this guy would be in supply, and this guy would be in supply. But no supply. So again, Soviets are still wrestling with supply issues. Other changes, these guys, like I said, they're stacked up here. They stay here. This guy stays here. The only other change I made was there was a 5-8 Panzer division, I believe it was here. And previously I'd run him around like this to help with Narva and blow through here. Now instead he runs around to here. And then this 3-8 is here. So kind of a two-pronged attack going on here. But the Stalin line held here. It's not holding here. So the Germans may shift the axis of their attack. Well, it's going to be both. But these guys are running up against the Stalin line here. And again, it's a 3L shift. These guys, though, it's more broken field running to close onto Leningrad here. So, just wanted to show you that for those of you. I know some of my viewers are, you know, getting into the weeds with me on the rules and the system and understanding it. So, just the clarifications here, yeah. And as we saw, it is 3L now that we're after game turn 3. And then we get the 1L for the swamp, so it was an extra shift there that I didn't include. I think I got it right. Anyway, close enough. The DR result is the best result. We'll leave that for the Soviets. So they held. And then that limits the German exploitation. The German problem going into this turn, as long as I've got you listening, at 10 minutes I'll stop. It's all about supply again. You know, everybody up here is out of supply. This guy put through a wrench in things. So now that you can't, well, now actually with these guys holding, couldn't have made a railhead here because Narva's in enemy zone of control. So we come back here, can't make a railhead here. It's still in enemy zone of control. And, you know, we don't have anybody there. So basically the lead elements are out of supply here, short of an air supply, but that's only going to be the hex it goes to. So where supply becomes potentially possibility for the Germans is down here. And they did, of course, already move around the 4th Panzer Grenadier. You know, the other headquarters, I think, yeah, there's one, and there's the 16th Army, ranges of 2. So the Germans would get a railhead here, which the headquarters stays there and give a range of 4. But the other thing the Germans can do is build a depot here, which would then go 4. And then if I put that guy at the end of the 4, you know, after they clear this out, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this guy being here would go 1, 2, 3, 4. So he could provide supply all through here. Obviously, got to clean up some Russians there. Ideally, it would have been nice to build a depot here. But at this point, with this here, we're talking a few turns, because you can't build a depot, you know, right away. I think building the railhead. Oh, I don't know. We'll see if they can build a railhead here this turn. It would have been nice to get this guy here. So that's what we're going to see in the German turn. Yeah, don't know how much attacking they can do, because right now their lead elements, at least up here, are out of supply. Have to work on that, and we did take that. And the air supply only applies the hex it's in. So the axis of advance may shift a little here. If they can clear these guys out, maybe they can get the supply running up to these guys, and they can coordinate again. But now I got these kind of swamps and rivers in the way. So things are kind of getting messy here, and we need the infantry to get up on the lines too. So not quite a German, you know, breakout as you saw before, but again, for the sake of those watching to understand the rules, yeah, it is get a little tricky here, but I think we're learning it here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here, since I did run this out to even a 12-minute recording with my ramblings. So when we come back, we will be doing the German turn 5. I think I've already adjusted it here. No, we haven't. Yeah, last month of uh, July, they're going to get Finnish railroad artillery. Yeah, look up those rules. So that's what we'll come back and do. So thanks for listening and joining me on this journey with campaigns in Europe. Deciding, you know, if this is a system now to pretty much do a good chunk of operational battles throughout Europe in World War II, even all the way back in the expansion of the fall of France. Don't know if, you know, they'll put out another expansion and cover other battles, and then maybe do one big one at the end where it does all of World War II, but then we got to worry about production. So anyway, I'll end it here. Thanks for listening. See you at the next one.